Hello there folks, welcome back to the Chap'S Guide. My name is Ash and I am your host on this journey through men's style, self-development and personal grooming. Now we're well into December, that traditional time of year where we come to that festive period where we exchange gifts, and for me it's very important to give good quality gifts to people who are important to me, much more important than receiving them. And this also can be said if you like to treat yourself to a gift as well, or you need to suggest a gift that you may appreciate to somebody who's close to you, who perhaps may drop the hint, what would you like for Christmas? Well, I've got some things today which I'm going to call my Christmas gift guide. They're quite chappy and they're quite closely aligned to my own personal outlook on life. So I'm just going to go ahead and tell you some of the things that I would like to receive myself, or I would like to, give to somebody if I wanted to up their level of chapdom. Now, I'm going to put this out there at the very beginning. I am not associated with any of the brands which I'm talking about today. I'm not being paid to talk about these brands. I receive no money. If you go out and buy 1,000 of these things, it makes no difference to me. I won't get any kickbacks, nothing whatsoever. These are purely things which I have encountered over the last 12 months, and I've taken an element of pleasure from them, which I think you might perhaps give to somebody else, or ask if somebody suggests, what gift do you like? So let me begin. Firstly, I'm going to talk about a category of items which I would loosely describe as stationery, because I do often talk about the value of keeping a journal, writing as sort of self-inflection, self-development, lots of things like that. I really do put a lot of sway on the quality of stationery. And the first thing I'm going to talk about, when I set myself up with my new Moose Lodge office, one of the things I did, I wanted to invest in a nice little bit of stationery. Things that made me feel quite good about sending letters, writing notes and things like this. Now what I have here, some sticky notes, the simplest of all things, isn't it? Those things which you take for granted. These are sticky notes which are in the image of a map of the world. And I purchased these from a company called Scriptum, which are based in the city of Oxfordshire here, or Oxford in Oxfordshire, here in England. They're quite nice quality notes. They come in different sizes. So this sort of map of the world which I'm holding here, it's broken up into different sizes of tear-off notes, which you can add onto things where you want to keep a record, or you want to add a little note to yourself. And I just find these charming. They do lots of different images which you're able to have as your sticky notes. If I remember, I paid £15 for these. Available online anywhere you live in the world. You can order them from Scriptum in Oxford. I'll put a link to all of these things down below. Even though I'm not associated with these folks at all, I will just tell you that brought a little bit of joy to my office. Nice to have pleasant things on the desk when you go in there. Just makes the whole working environment seem so much more fun. Now, I'm going to talk about notebooks, or journals as I like to call them. These days they've taken a sort of whole different identity somewhat. Now I always, and this is what I'm referring to you today, I always use the Leuchtturm. Difficult as it is to say the name, Leuchtturm is a German brand which makes my favourite quality journals. They do all different sizes. I like this A5 size. What draws me to this journal is the fact, good quality paper. It's 80 GSM, grams per square metre, so it's just the right thickness, not to be too thick, but it's perfect for writing on with a fountain pen, which is what I like to do. Coming next. But yeah, great quality, lovely, nice journals. It's got a contents section at the beginning, and they are, most importantly, quite reasonably priced. Let me just tell you, Leuchtturm A5 journal, 80 GSM, it's about £18. You can buy them from Amazon or anywhere you like, but go for Leuchtturm, they're very good. Now, if that's a little rich for you, £18 for a journal like that, which, to be honest, I only use 2 of these a year-ish, so it's not exactly a huge investment. But if you don't like Leuchtturm, you can go with a brand which I'm just experimenting with at the moment. This is a French brand called Clairefontaine. A little bit cheaper, doesn't have quite the same quality in some regard, the externals, the sort of cover for it isn't quite as nice as the hard cover as the Leuchtturm, but they're cheaper. They are, let me just tell you, £12, £6 less, but the paper is 90 GSM, grams per square metre, which means a little bit thicker. Wonderful for writing on with a fountain pen. They also have a content section. The pages are numbered. Really easy to keep track of your affairs. If you're looking for a journal, either as a sort of daily journal, like a diary, or in fact, if you're looking for something to keep track of notes, like I do with my YouTube work here, for Clairefontaine or Leuchtturm, you're not going to go wrong. Now, if you're using these journals, you are of course going to need something to write in them. And this is a great opportunity for you to ask for a gift. Now, I've got a few pens which I've encountered over the last year, and these three have been awesome. All right. Firstly, this is the Kaweco Dia 2. This is a classically styled, sort of old-fashioned Art Deco inspired fountain pen. It's got a black resinous finish. It screws to open. You've got nice, this one has got actually a gold finish to the metalwork on the pen. You can have them with chrome as well. But I have found, I've got a broad nib on mine, I have found it just absolutely exquisite to write with. It's been a pleasure. And let me tell you, the Kaweco Dia is about £90. So for that price, for the pen that you get, I think you get really good quality from Kaweco. I've used a number of their pens over a number of years. They never disappoint. So highly recommended that one. It's got a lovely flourishing write to it, particularly with the broader nib, which I personally prefer. Staying on the classic brands, here I've got one which I did review a little while ago on the channel. This is the Pelikan M200. Now, it's a bit lighter than the Kaweco. It's about the same size, to be fair, but it's more resin, all right, and it's quite light. It's got a lovely marbled finish to the barrel, and when it screws to open, again, I've chosen a medium nib here, which runs quite broad and quite wet. It's a piston filler, whereas the Kaweco can be used with cartridges or a converter. But this piston fill, it's really holds a lot of ink, and again, a wonderful flourishing style of writing with this one. And Pelikan, of course, they've got quite a history. You know, you get the Pelikan's bill, which is the little clip on it. Really classic pen, a little bit more, I don't know, modern, edgy, rather like that one. And that price, about £95. Really good pen, unbelievable. Now, bringing it back to the UK, because we've had a couple of pens manufactured overseas, this is a pocket pen. About to do a review on this one for the channel. You'll see that popping up. But this is a pocket pen, which means when it's in its folded configuration, as it is now, quite small, but when you open it, like so, you put it together, and it becomes a full-size pen. And if I put it alongside one of the pens I've just been using, you can see it's actually larger than a standard size pen. But it is amazingly engineered by a chap called Tom, who, as you might suggest, is from a company called Tom's Studio. And Tom himself is the engineer who's designed these pens, and they're superbly finished, beautiful nibs, right immaculately, and yeah, they are just glorious. And they all fit together just so. Pops it into the pocket. You can take it anywhere. Very convenient. Lovely writer. It's a really lovely pen. £85. That has been one of my absolute glorious finds of the year, and I love the fact they're made by a small family company, just Tom and his wife, down in Dorset, I think it is, in the south of England, and they're cranking out some amazing stuff. I've got high hopes that they will go on to much better things in the future. So, what else am I going to recommend that you may be interested in for Christmas gifts? Well, I'm going to reach into my pocket now, and I'm going to bring out something which I have showed you before, because I showed it to you in my, hang on, got to find it, which pocket is it in? Here it is. In my everyday carry video, and it was this. This is the Heine Haynes windmill pocket knife. Now, this is a pocket knife which I am rarely without wherever I am. All right, whether I'm wearing, my trousers, if I'm out and about in normal life, or whether I'm up here in the woods. this little Heine Haynes pocket knife. As you can see, it's quite straightforward, stainless steel construction, one large blade, but it also has a scissors on there as well. Quite a robust little scissors on here, so lots of capability on this pen. It's got a nice clip, so it slots into the pocket and it's held securely in place. It's really well made. I've been using it now for the best part of 12 months. Cutting things, slicing things, organic things, string on boxes, what you normally use. The price point is what's great with this. This is £18.95, so it's under £20. The other important factor is, if you're British particularly, this is 7.4 centimetres in length, which means it's UK legal carry. All right, so it's within the boundaries of the legal requirements of a penknife that you can carry around without attracting the attention of the police, because it's perfectly legal at this size. It's a non-locking knife. It weighs 50 grams. You don't even know it's in the pocket, but when you need it, it's there and ready to do its job for you. So there we go. Penknife. What next? What am I going to talk to you about next? I've diverged slightly from stationery. However, while you're writing and you're being a gentleman, one of the things which I always recommend people do, all right, is get themselves some nice quality stationery. Just some correspondence notes. I did a whole video on correspondence notes a little while ago. All you need is, correspondence cards and the accompanying envelopes. Have a little box. Now, this is just an old box which I keep mine in here, and I've got mine from British company Smithson. Now, they're a little expensive. The prices are on the screen. However, it's all about the impression that you make when you write to somebody. A little bit of quality doesn't go amiss when you're writing to somebody to express your appreciation for being invited to a dinner party. Or maybe they've sent you a gift and you write back to acknowledge their generosity and to thank them personally in your own hand using one of the pens which I've talked about here. Nice quality ink, right on a correspondence card. Thank you so much for the gift you sent over on my birthday. I greatly appreciate it. When they receive that, it sends a message of quality, of old-fashioned courtesy and standards, and it elevates your standing amongst the people that you interact with. So always have some nice quality correspondence cards. Now, you don't have to go to Smithson's. Smithson's, by the way, hold the royal warrant. They provide the stationery for His Majesty the King. However, a little bit expensive, but worth having if you wish to cut a dash with those who will draw an impression about the way you interact with them using your stationery. Now, just one more thing before we entirely leave the world of stationery and writing and so on behind us. As you know, if you enjoy watching the channel, yes, I do use a journal, typically daily, to record my activities, to plan, to set goals, and to, know when I've achieved those goals by keeping a record. But I also, from time to time, like to use many of the professional planners, the sort of bullet planning tools which are available on the market today. Now, just recently, and I haven't reviewed this for the channel yet, but I'm going to, this is the High Performance Planner, which is a product by Brendan Bouchard. And apparently this planner took 20 years of research to achieve. I'm not going to go into any great depths of its review right now because I'm going to review it after a while. But what you need to know is within this large book, you've got 2 months worth of planning. Strategic planning, so looking ahead for the whole month, and tactical planning, sort of weekly and daily. And it gives you lots of tasks to undertake to bring the best out of your own performance. A morning mindset, an evening journal. So you're planning for the day ahead. You're reflecting upon what's gone on during the day and what you can improve for the next day. I have found it, and I've been doing this for about 3 weeks now, really valuable to help me organize my life and reflect upon areas where I could be a bit more efficient. Maybe I can cut a few corners to get the same job done. This costs £16.80. I bought it from Amazon myself. Well worth a go. I'm going to do a full review on this on the channel once I've got to the end of my 2-month experiment reviewing this fellow. But right up to this point, if somebody says to you, I want to buy you a gift, or you want to buy a gift for somebody in your life, and you think they're a little bit disorganized, but they have got a mindset that can be trained, under £20, way under £20, £16.80, you may just be able to help them organise themselves. Okay, now my next suggestion leaves behind the world of pens and stationery. Now let us talk about your comfort, because you can't be the best version of yourself. You can't perform to your highest level unless you're comfortable. You may work from home, all right? I do most of the time. So when I'm at home, I like to be comfortable. I like to wear nice, natural knitwear. Makes me nice and warm and snuggly. But most important when we're talking about being comfortable is our footwear. Now for me, when I'm at home, I do like to wear a pair of nice slippers. And I'm going to recommend these to you. This is my second pair. Haven't worn them yet, just bought them the other day. This is a pair of slippers. These are called the Philip model slippers. And they are from Drapers of Glastonbury, which is only about 20 miles from where I live. But it is a heritage slipper factory right down in Somerset in England. They've been making slippers for, I don't know, 80 years. They're sheepskin slippers, and this one has a leather finish to it. I previously had their suede finish. Suede bottoms, but you can choose the type of sole that you like. You can have harder wearing sort of plastic ones, or suede, as I have chosen here. But what these are just so wonderful at, they are sheepskin on the inside, and when you put them on, you get this wave of comfort and corseting sensation, which just makes your day rather pleasant. Now, as you can see, they're what we would call a Grecian style of slipper. You might say old-fashioned, but for me, old-fashioned, they knew how to do things properly in the past. So this Grecian style, made, as you can see, of sheepskin, it is comfort personified. These cost about £90 a pair. I get mine from the factory store, pay a lot less than that because I'm lucky enough to live nearby. But even if they were £100 a pair, I think they're excellent value and quality. They're all handmade in a traditional heritage factory by British artisans, and they make life pleasant just to do your job, to go about life, because the comfort, the warmth, it's all there. And if somebody says to you, what do you want for Christmas? Get me a pair of slippers, but get me a pair of Drapers slippers, all right? Under £100, and what you get is absolute comfort. Okay, we're talking about our individual selves now, a little bit of hygiene, perhaps, if you want to call it that. Fragrances. Now, if you watch my channel, you will know that over the years I've tried many different brands of fragrance, and one which I keep going back to is Floris in London, number 89 Jermyn Street, in fact. And I was there earlier in the year, towards the end of year, September. I bought a few bottles of fragrance throughout the year from various brands, but this is the only one which I would say really struck a chord with me in 2023, and it is Elite by Floris. I've done a review on it on the channel, and it is a classic masculine fragrance, a little bit of muskiness. It's a fougere, I would describe it as. It's a little bit of green, as you can see in there, and it has a green essence to it. But for me, it's one of my favourite Floris fragrances. It's £100 a bottle, and it's eau de toilette. From the store itself I bought this, but you'll be able to get it anywhere online. If you're looking for a classy masculine fragrance, which isn't too offensive, not some modern fragrances are so powerful, they're hard to wear without offending people's noses. But this one, it is classic, it is elegant, it is not too old-fashioned, it has an element of modernity to it, but you will definitely set yourself apart if you choose Floris Elite. It's a reasonable price point, and it delivers an excellent product. So, staying with the world of hygiene and fragrance, maybe you don't want to spend £100 in giving a gift to somebody. I'll tell you a really good price point is some deodorant. Who doesn't love receiving deodorant at Christmas? And here we have George Trumper's deodorant stick, as you can see, and this is Euchris, which I think is the best fragrance that George Trumper does across their entire range. It is very, very unique. It's got black currant within it, and it's a masculine, sort of rugged, I don't know how to describe it. I often describe it as having something of the night about it, because it's got an ominous presence, and it is a really distinctive fragrance, which I think most men, when I've exposed it to people, they've always said, wow, I've never smelled anything like that before, and I love it. But of course, I'm using this one merely as an example. Something like this, I believe I pay £15. Yeah, £15 for a 75 milliliter deodorant stick from George Trumper. I actually bought this in George Trumper's store itself, just off Jermyn Street in London. However, get it online, get it on Amazon, you might even get it cheaper. They do a whole host of different fragrances. Another one of my absolute favourites is Spanish Leather from George Trumper. Oh, that is so gorgeous. Shave cream is great, as is the shave cream in Eucharist. But for merely £15, it's a great gift to give because you're not breaking your wallet, yet it feels like you're giving something substantial, and it has an amazing fragrance. So whoever you give it to, they're going to, really appreciate the gift and the time that you've given to picking out something special for them. So finally, one last thing. A book, all right? I talk about this all the time. It is so important to invest in yourself, and a book is the way to go. I've read so many books this year. I've really applied myself to reading, but I'm not going to suggest a book which I've picked up, which was published in 2023. I'm going to suggest a much older book. I'm going to suggest The Moon's a Balloon by David Niven. Now, you hear me extol the virtues of David Niven time and time again on the channel, because Niven is the quintessential British gentleman. He was a soldier, a patriot, an Academy Award-winning actor, and an absolute gentleman throughout the entirety of his life. The Moon's a Balloon is his autobiography, written many years ago. I can't tell you when, actually. I'll have a quick look if you like. But certainly in his heyday, in the early 1970s. It is his account of his life, warts and all, and he does not hold back in some of the more salacious elements of his life. But if you read this book, you will learn something of the qualities of a genuine gentleman and a chap. And you can probably pick this up for pennies today because it's so old, it's still in publication, but you will find something which may divert your life journey. And if you want to talk about the absolute quintessential chap, David Niven was the man. So, The Moon's a Balloon by David Niven. If you haven't read it yet, this could be a great book to pick up for yourself as a personal present, or if you've got somebody in your life who needs to elevate their chapdom, give it as a gift. Giving a book as a gift is always a great way to show appreciation, yet also develop that person at the same time. So there we go. Those were my Christmas gift guide for 2023. I've tried to keep everything under £100. Some things cost under £20. Lots of options there. Why not have a think? Maybe you'd like some of these things, or maybe there's somebody you know who would benefit from receiving them as a gift. So, there we go. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, give the video a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more like this, subscribe. If you would like to leave me a comment, do so in the comment section. If you'd like to support the channel, you can buy me a coffee. You can even become a patron and get the additional video content, which I make specifically just for my patrons. You'll find all the information how to access that in the show notes below. But as we fast approach the festive period, don't be caught out running out on Christmas Eve trying to find gifts for those special people. Put some thought in now. Order some things, get it ready, and you will appear to be the chap who has given the perfect present in 2023. So until the next time, take care, and I will see you again very soon.